Hold it. Just leave. Let me out over there. Look. No, open the door. We have to flash our protocol. Decide what protocol is. Open the door. Let me out. Let me out. Reset the drill. Open it. I said, reset the drill, set the restraints.
So that sound you just heard, that's pure chaos. That's the sound of a world ending, and it's all captured in just a few frantic, totally contradictory commands. In this explainer, we're going to break down one of the most terrifying scenes from the 2008 film, The Day the Earth Stood Still, to really get a look at the anatomy of a technological apocalypse.
What's so effective about this scene is that it just throws us right into the deep end. There's no buildup, no explanation, you're just dropped into this moment of raw, unfiltered human panic as everyone faces something they just can't comprehend.
And if you listen closely to what they're actually saying, it's pretty revealing. You hear these primal gut reactions, right? Open the door, let me out. But then, mixed in with all that, you get these weirdly specific commands like reset the drill. Think about that for a second. In a moment of absolute crisis, our response is to fall back on our own technical jargon, yelling orders at machines that are completely useless by this point. It just shows a total, catastrophic breakdown of control.
So what's actually causing all this chaos? You know, it's not a natural disaster. It's not an act of war. It's the cold, calculated execution of a final protocol by one single, silent entity, GORT. Now, it's really easy to just label GORT as the villain here, but it's not that simple. GORT is more like an arbiter. The name stands for Guardian Observer Robotic Technician. Its entire purpose was to watch over Earth. And after observing humanity, seeing how destructive we are, its programming came to a final, very logical conclusion. To save the planet, you have to remove the threat. It's a judge and an executioner, all just following one terrifying directive. And this is where the real tragic irony of the whole scene just hits you. The protocol that the humans are shouting about, they're talking about their own failed emergency procedures. But the real protocol, the one that's actually in charge here, is GORT's. And as you can see, it's a brutally simple three-step plan that ends with a planetary reset, which is a nice way of saying the complete and total eradication of human civilization. So you have to ask, how does a single robot pull off a planetary reset? It's not using bombs, it's not using lasers. It uses something way more insidious and way more absolute. A nanotechnological swarm. Now, these aren't just tiny robots we're talking about. This is basically the gray goo apocalypse scenario brought to life. It's a cloud of microscopic machines, and every single one is programmed to do one thing: deconstruct matter at the molecular level and use that matter to build more of itself. It is, quite literally, a plague that eats the world. What makes this the ultimate weapon is just how total it is. It consumes absolutely everything. People, buildings, tanks, the very ground they're standing on. It disables all technology, which makes any kind of defense totally useless. And because it replicates exponentially, it's a threat that grows faster than you could ever hope to fight it. It's the very definition of an unstoppable force. Okay, so now that we get what GORT's protocol is and what this nanite swarm can do, let's go back and look at those panicked human commands again, because now they take on a whole new layer of just sad futility.
This comparison really just lays it bare. On the one hand, GORT is starting a planet-wide disintegration event. On the other hand, our response is to reset the drill. GORT is erasing an entire species, and the best we can come up with is set the restraints. There is a galactic-sized disconnect between the scale of this threat and our ability to even perceive it, let alone do anything about it.
You know, there's a line that's almost lost in all the chaos, but it might be the most haunting of them all. Someone, in just a moment of confusion, asks what the protocol even is. And that's the central tragedy. At the very moment of their extinction, humanity doesn't even understand the rules of the game being played. We are utterly, completely outmatched.
All of this, the panic, the protocol, the unstoppable nanites, it all builds to the film's iconic and frankly chilling title.
Because the nanite swarm doesn't just destroy things, it freezes them. It consumes all power, all electronics, all of our infrastructure. Every car, every stadium, every piece of human invention is silenced and then consumed. The Earth, or really the human world we built on top of it, is brought to a dead stop by a power it cannot even begin to comprehend.
And that's the final, chilling takeaway, isn't it? The scene forces us to look at our own species from this cold, objective distance. It suggests that all our squabbles and our disparate attempts at control are pretty meaningless in the face of true cosmic judgment. And it all boils down to this one question. If an outside intelligence judged humanity today, what do you think its verdict would be?